I can almost not carry this stack. It fell like 3 times already. So I will be putting this here for safety reasons. Hey bookish friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It is October already. It's October. The year is over. I moved into this new apartment in January and I cannot believe we've lived here for almost a year. That's insane. That's insane. Anyway, it's October 3rd already and it's time for a September wrap-up. I read 15 books in the month of September, which is insane to me. That's not usually how much I read. But I read 15 whole books, 12 of them are physical books. And in today's video, we're going to be talking all about them and go a little bit more in depth. All of these are fantasy, except 2. And a lot of these were on my fall TBR. And I'm really glad that I've gotten around to reading them already. The first book I read in September is Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. I bought this book when I was on vacation in Belgium, and it was a great time. I was actually surprised because I've read some of her other books. I read A Touch of Darkness, which I didn't really love, and then I read King of Battle and Blood, which I kind of liked, but not really that much. And this is kind of different because it's an urban fantasy. This book is about Lilith. Lilith is the daughter of one of the ruling families in the city of Eden, and she's run away from home to live in a different district that's ruled by a different family. And this is all about the urban fantasy, the ruling families, corruption especially in the church. This has a big part religious commentary in it. There's this guy, the district that she fled into is ruled by this guy, which she knew from a young age already. And it's about kind of dealing with grief and dealing with having your belief system shattered. And I personally really, really like this book. I think I gave it 4.25 stars. This was just really great. And I have to say that I love the cover. I will definitely be continuing the series when the books come out because the end had me hooked. And I can't wait to see how she continues the series. The next book that I read in the month of September was Tusk Love by Thea Guanzon. This is actually a book that I wanted to buy when I was in Belgium, but the prices were insane in that Waterstones. And so I bought it off of Amazon because where I live, we have a law that dictates that books have to cost the same everywhere. So no matter where you get them from, the books cost the same. And it's kind of insane to me that a book in a Waterstones can cost $35, but on Amazon it costs like $19, which is insane to me. Because as I said, where I live, there's this law that says that every book has to cost the same, except if it's damaged or used. I bought this right outside the Waterstones, and it already had come when we got back from vacation. And I read this. It's a really, really short book, and I loved it so much. I didn't expect to give this 5 stars, but I absolutely did. This is like a cozy fantasy monster romance inspired by D&D, which already sounds so great. I love D&D. Critical Role approached Thea Guanzon and asked if she wanted to write this book, and she did. And I loved it so much. I loved the characters, even though it was such a short book. I really feel like those characters are real. She managed to get me to care about these characters in just, I think, 280 pages. Which is really, really short, and that's why I devoured this book in one sitting. This is a very character-driven story. It's about, oh god, I'm very bad at remembering names. Guinevere and Oscar. Okay, so this book is very character-driven. It's about Guinevere. She's a daughter to merchants, and she's supposed to bring this wagon full of stuff to her parents to another city where she's supposed to marry a guy that her parents picked out for her. But on the first night, she gets robbed and her wardens get killed, and so she's alone. But then Oscar finds her. Oscar is a half-orc. He kind of takes pity on her and swears to protect her. And they come from very different backgrounds. She is a rich girl and he is kind of poor-ish. He has had to work his entire life. There isn't much that happens in most of the book because they just travel. But because they travel so much, it's very character-based. You really get to know them in such a short amount of time and really get to love them in such a short amount of time. And this romance was everything to me. It was really sweet and honest, which was really a nice deviation from the typical broody main character, enemy kind of story. This was just so sweet. So sweet. Their love story is like one of my favorites of all time already, and I can't wait to reread this book next year. I love this so much, truly. If you are interested in anything around D&D or monster romances, read this. Yeah, I'm really hoping that they write a second book about other characters that are inspired by the world of D&D, because this was so much fun. I really need more books like this. If you have any book recommendations that are similar to this, please tell me, because I need them. Yeah. Oh boy. I got this for my birthday, and I thought I would love it because everyone loves it. Everyone and their mother loves this book, and it just wasn't for me. I really didn't like this book. I think I gave it 2 stars, and those 2 stars were kind of pity stars because I did not enjoy my time reading this book. First of all, it started really weird. I had no idea what was happening. Everything was written so weirdly and constructed weirdly. The pacing was off. The dialogue felt really shallow. This book is what really makes me distrust book talk recommendations, because I've seen everyone recommend this. And the sad thing is that a lot of YouTubers and book talkers who I trust with my life, they have recommended this book and said it was 5 stars for them, and I just didn't like this book. The idea was amazing. So this is about Elara and Enzo, and Elara is from a different kingdom than Enzo, and in her kingdom the dark rules and it's night, and in his kingdom the sun rules. It is all constructed around the celestial theme. The gods are stars, and there's a prophecy about Elara that she will fall in love with the King of Stars and it will kill them both. And because the King of Stars doesn't want to die, he is set out to kill her before that prophecy can come true. Which on the outside sounds amazing, sounds exactly like what I wanted. And the idea of the kingdoms and the stars being gods, I really liked. This book, I think, redeemed itself a little bit in the last 100 pages, because there were some things that I didn't see coming, and I enjoyed that a lot. But I found myself skipping through most of this book because I was just annoyed at the characters most of the time. I felt that the dialogue was kind of a little bit shallow and sounded very unedited. I think this book could have used a little bit more editing, and I think this could have been a great book if it's just had a little bit more editing. I'm really, really sorry if this is like one of your favorite books, and I'm really happy for you that you loved it. I'm just sad that I didn't. I wish I could love this as much as most of you do. Yeah, this was really disappointing for me, and now I'm kind of scared of book talk recommendations. I wish I'd loved this more. The next books that I read are Save You and Save Us by Mona Kasten. She's a German author, and she wrote the Maxton Hall series. I think last year the TV series of Maxton Hall got pretty popular around the world, and this is based on these books. And I have had these for years. I think I bought them when I was 13, so 10 years ago. And I never really read the entire series, so I thought, because I liked the show so much, I should really read these, and also finishing a series that I never finished. And I really enjoyed them. I think the series did it better, to be honest, for some reason. I'm excited to see what they will do in season 2, because I did not like how book 1 ended, but that was vastly different from how season 1 ended. So, I don't know, maybe they're going to try something else. I don't have much to say about these. They were fun, and I liked reading them. They won't really stay on my mind. I think I gave them 3 stars. It's just a good book. The first books that I had on my TBR for fall, because I bought them specifically for fall, is this series by Sarah Hawley. And the first one is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. And I love this so much. This is about a witch and a demon, Mariel and Osroth the Ruthless. And she is really bad at witchcraft. She kind of sucks at doing witchcraft, and her family is incredibly disappointed because there was a prophecy that she would become a great witch. And so the expectations of her family are really high, and she hasn't kind of been living up to that really. And when a summoning spell goes wrong, and instead of flour for baking, she accidentally summons Osroth the Ruthless, And because she summoned him by name, he has to stay there until she makes a bargain with him. But because she accidentally summoned him, she doesn't really want to make a bargain. And so he's stuck and she's stuck and she can't get rid of him and he can't go back. And there's the fake dating in this because her mom comes over and then she has to kind of explain this demon. And so she puts a hat on him and says, hey, that's my boyfriend. So her mom won't see her as even more of a disappointment than she already does. Oh, I'm a sucker for these kind of romance books. They are cozy and really funny. I love her writing style. They are really funny, but so heartwarming and sad at the same time, because they always touch on topics of disappointing your family and expectations and believing in yourself, starting to believe in yourself and growing as a person. And me personally, I could really relate to the feeling like a disappointment in the family, and this kind of hit very hard. I really enjoyed this, especially because Marielle is a character who loves baking, and I love baking, and she loves plants, and I love plants. And so I felt really connected to her. It's kind of like a grumpy sunshine too. Like, she's really happy and hippie, and he's kind of broody and standoffish. And I love that. I love that so much. This was, I think, my favorite of the series. Maybe because it's the first one, but I really, really liked this. In comparison, this kind of I didn't like so much. This is the second book. It's called It's Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. And this is also about characters that we already know. We know them from the first book. And I won't say who it is so I don't spoil anyone. But this was kind of, I mean, I liked it. I still liked it, don't get me wrong. I still really liked it. I just didn't like it as much as the first one. I think maybe I couldn't connect to the character so much because the female main character is Claudia. And this also touches on being a disappointment to your family. And her mother is running for mayor again, and she's kind of corrupt. And so Claudia is kind of trying to fight her and also figuring out what it is she wants from life and if she wants to let her mom walk all over her again. And the male main character has amnesia, so he doesn't remember anything, but he's a demon too. And kind of what happens is that they're being hunted by another demon, an evil demon, and so they have to flee and to go find the witch who can maybe restore his memory. This was still really fun and again very, I think, a little psychological with the themes of growing into yourself and finding out what to do when your family is toxic. If you have a toxic family, how to handle that. What do you do when you have a toxic family? Yeah, this was really interesting. I really liked this. I would still totally recommend this. I think I still gave it 4 stars. So take my criticism with a grain of salt. Sometimes I'm a little bit overcritical. Yeah. And this is the third book in the series, A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, which I loved. Again, I think the issue I have with the second book is that it was a witch and a demon exactly like the first one. But this is vampire and werewolf, which, amazing. And we know the werewolf from the stories before. And how this story is constructed, I think, is just so fun and so great. This is about Ben Rosewood, and he's a very anxious werewolf. He has anxiety disorder, sometimes he has panic attacks, and he is not happy of where he is in life. He says that he is, but he's kind of missing a girl. He wants a girlfriend, he wants a family, he wants to be loved, but it's kind of not happening for him. And after getting drunk one night because he was sad with his life, he goes on eBay and accidentally buys a vampire succubus that's trapped in a crystal for 99 cents. And so when this crystal arrives and he gets it out, this vampire comes out, and she is the woman of his dreams. She's a curvy redhead, very violent, very stabby. She wants nothing more than revenge. She wants to kill the witch in the woods who cursed her to be in this crystal and made her do her bidding for a few hundred years. And now, since he is the new owner of the crystal, she wants to kill him, but the binding spell forbids her to do so. But what she can do now, since she belongs to a different person, is go find that witch and rip her head off. And this is kind of what they're trying to do. And they're also navigating life because she has been trapped in this crystal for a few years and a few decades, and she's missed a few things on the new world and technology. And so she's kind of trying to catch up with modern times, and he's kind of trying to not fall immediately in love with her because it really never works out for him. But this was such a sweet and interesting story. I really liked the end as well. I won't say anything more about this, but I loved this. I think this was 4.5 stars for me. This was just an amazing read, and I think I'm changing my mind right now. I think I'm changing my mind, and I think this is my favorite one of this series. I think I loved this even more than the first one. Yeah, I'm going to say that this is my favorite. Also, if you like spicy books, they are all kind of spicy. But the interesting thing is, since she is a vampire succubus, she can feed on lust. She needs blood and she needs lust to survive. And so, yeah, some things happen. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything more. But these are like a good amount of spicy. I think they're not overly spicy, but they're really fun to read. Sorcery of Thorns has to be one of my favorite books of all time. As soon as I read it, okay, that's a lie. I started reading it and it was really, really good, but not amazing. And then I read the end of this book and I cried so much. I cried so much. This is unbelievable. The pacing in this was unbelievable. It was so fast paced. And this is a standalone fantasy. This was so, so good. I can't stop talking about this book. This is everything to me. I love these characters with my whole heart. I love the story with my whole heart, and you best believe I will be doing a reread next year. This is about Elizabeth Scrivener. She has grown up in one of the magical libraries in this country, and she's kind of trying to become a warden, which means that she will protect the humans from the evil books, because every book that they are warding over, every book in her library is a grimoire, and grimoires are like infused with the sorcerer's magic. And there's bad grimoires and there's good grimoires, like depending on the level that they have. But then something happens at her library and one of the most dangerous books, I think it was a level 8 or 9, breaks free and wreaks havoc in this library and around town. And so she's implicated in this crime and everyone thinks that it was her. And so she's being sent to the capital to stand trial for what people believe is her fault. And with no one else to turn to, she needs the help from Nathaniel Thorne, who is a sorcerer. She still thinks that sorcerers are like evil because they get their powers from demons. But when she grows to know Nathaniel and his demon, she kind of really starts to love them. The vibes in this book were immaculate. Magical libraries and sorcery and a manor that's kind of alive. And there was so many things that happened in this book. It surprised me at every turn. Every time I thought I knew where the story was heading, I was proven wrong immediately. And this is what I love about books. This was everything I wanted. This was so amazing that when I finished it, I immediately bought Mysteries of Thorn Manor, which is the kind of novella that comes after this book. The author really didn't intend to write this, but everyone had been begging her to write this novella, and I'm so glad that she did, because this was like the perfect addition to the book. It was so adorable and sweet, and I loved it so much. I just needed more of Nathaniel and Elizabeth. Yeah, so if you didn't know this existed, go buy it. And if you haven't read Sorcery of Thorns yet, now is the time. It's fall. This is the best book for fall vibes. And it's a standalone fantasy. What more do you want? With magical libraries and books and sorcery and magic and ice skating and a ball. Yeah. If you haven't read this book yet, and it might be on your TBR, pick it up this fall. This literally changed my life. I can't stop thinking about this book. If you've seen my video that I did on my favorite books of all time, you will already have seen me talk about Sorcery of Thorns, because as soon as I read it, I knew that it had to be included in that list, even though I just literally read it like 2 weeks ago. This was insane. After that, I read Blood and Moonlight by Erin Beatty. This is a book that I knew nothing about. I heard no one talk about this book. I bought this because I had just finished a Criminal Minds rerun and I needed something with Criminal Minds. I am in love with Spencer Reid and I just wanted a book with a Spencer Reid kind of character in a fantasy setting, and I found this as a recommendation. But I've seen no one else talk about this book. And now I can tell you about this book. This is definitely inspired by Criminal Minds and it was such an interesting story. I don't know if it will be in the best books of all time for me, but I liked it well enough. Katrine discovers that she has magical powers that are gifted to her by the moon, and at the same time when she discovered this, she witnesses a killer escaping and a murder happening. And so she kind of gets pulled in because she's the one to find the body, and she kind of gets pulled into this investigation because someone she loves might be implicated in the crime, but she doesn't believe that he is. And so she kind of snakes her way into more of the investigation so she can protect them. And assigned to this case is the enigmatic and brilliant Simon, who is really the profiler of fantasy. He really knows how serial killers tick. Even though it's not a serial killer yet, more murders happen and she kind of gets pulled in more and more until the serial killer starts to target her. The powers that she discovered would make her an outcast, but they might also be the only thing that can save her and the ones she loves from the killer. And this was just such an intriguing story. The setting was amazing. Most of this plays like in the city with a grand cathedral where the people worship the sun. And it is all stained glass and gorgeous lighting. I feel like the romance was a little bit lacking though. I loved the characters and I loved them together. But I feel like the switch happened so fast from being strangers to becoming lovers. I feel the switch happened so fast that I didn't really track it. I was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this now, okay. And that was really confusing. But this, I don't think this is mainly about the romance. I think this is also about accepting who you are. She's also an orphan. She doesn't know her parents. At the same time, she kind of goes on a search to find out who she really is and who her parents are, and why this killer might be targeting her, and why she has these weird powers. And this was really interesting. This really had me on the edge of my seat. I just wish that the romance had been a little bit stronger because I personally love a lot of romance in books. And yeah, I just wish this had been a little bit stronger on the romance. There is a second book, which I'm hoping to pick up soon. Yeah, and we'll see, maybe the second one is better. But I did really still like it. I think I'd give it 3.5 stars, and it was really unique. I have not read anything serial killer fantasy-ish before, and this was really, really cool. And I wish there was more like that. I think more people should write Criminal Minds meets fantasy kind of stories. I love that. I love Criminal Minds. I love fantasy. Maybe I'll write that book. Yeah. Maybe I'll write the fantasy Criminal Minds story. Next, I listened to 3 audiobooks. I listened to them all throughout the month, not really one after one another. But I think it's just better to wrap them up in one, because I listened to the first 3 books in the Bridgerton series. I was really intrigued when I watched the series for the first time because I loved the series. The second season was my favorite by far. And so I was really interested to see if the books are the same or similar or how they differ from the series. And I read the first one, The Duke and I, which I really, really liked. I think I liked this better than watching the first season. To be honest, for some reason, I really liked that story. It was like my first historical romance that I've ever read, but it was really, really fun to see. I was surprised with how much it still was different from the show, but I really, really enjoyed it. And then the second one, I forgot what it's called, but it's Anthony and Kate's story. And there I have to say that I like the second season better because of how similar the first book was to the second book. That was kind of, I was itching to get to the bee part of that book because everyone loves the bee scene in the second season, me too. But after that, the season and the show are like 2 completely different stories. And I really like the season ending better. I think it was just too similar to the first book. That was kind of annoying a little bit, and that was kind of what made me not like the second book as much as I thought I would. As a surprise, though, I loved the third book. The third book is a Cinderella retelling of Benedict and Sophie's story. So she gets born as a bastard to a guy with a title, but when he dies, her stepmother kind of takes over and she's being used as a maid, and she has these evil stepsisters. And then she goes like to a masquerade ball and they meet there and they fall in love and they don't meet again for like 2 years, which I found was so fun and really true, because that was more like real life and not really like the fairy tale, and I liked that aspect a lot. I think the only thing that I didn't like so much about the third book is that at the end I felt like we were going in circles round and around and nothing was really progressing, and all the same issues and all the same thoughts were being pulled up again and again and again, and that was kind of annoying to me. I still loved it more than all the other books in the series so far. Yeah, but that's all that I have to say, I think, about the Bridgerton books. I will definitely keep reading the series. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of Penelope and Colin, but I haven't really gotten much into it yet, so I can't say a lot. And then the last book that I read in the month of September was Rewitched. Rewitched is my in-person book club pick for the month. I am meeting with them on Sunday, and yeah, that's tomorrow. By the time you see this video, that will be tomorrow. And I am meeting with them then to discuss this. And I really, really enjoyed this. I'm saying really, really too much. My God, that must be annoying. Anyway, this is about a witch. Her name is Belladonna Blackthorn, and she got her powers when she was 15. And she has been left to her own devices for another 15 years. She just turned 30 and she's living in the human world. And she's kind of using magic to guide her through life. She's not really doing incredible things with it, but she loves it and she cherishes her magic. And she lives in a bookshop where things are unraveling because there's this new guy who's taken over the shop and he sucks. But what she didn't know is that on your 30th birthday as a witch, you have to go through a trial of sorts where the coven decides if you're worthy of magic or not. And because she hasn't used her magic for big things, she is so afraid that she will fail. And if she fails, her magic is being taken away forever. This is all about how life can become so different from what you thought it would be when you were younger, and having the feeling of having disappointed your younger self, which I really liked that aspect of it. And it's really about believing in yourself and growing into the person that you're supposed to be. There's also a kind of a love story, which I will talk about later. She gets a month to fix things and learn magic like she was supposed to do in these last 15 years. She needs all the help she can get, and she gets that from a watchman of the coven and a disgraced sorcerer who's supposed to teach her. And this is a really interesting dynamic between these. There's a little bit of a found family aspect in these books, which I really, really enjoyed. It's about friendship and secrets, and I love the romance story in this. It was not a lot of romance. It was a pretty clean book, which is a little bit disappointing to me, I have to admit, because the thing is, what was there of the romance, I loved. I adored these characters together. And I'm a little bit sad that we didn't get to see more of them. There's a guy who's watching me out the window. Anyway, what was there of the romance I really, really loved, so I kind of wish that we'd gotten to see more of this. So that is like the only thing I have to say about this book. Otherwise, I love the aspects, the themes in this book. I really loved. They were heartwarming and really interesting to read. I just wish we'd had a little bit more romance. But that's just me personally. I still really, really enjoyed this book. And that concludes all of the books that I have read in the month of September. This was a lot of books. But I'm overall so happy with this month. I don't think I've ever had 2 5-star reads in 1 month because I'm really picky with books and ratings. But, well, technically I think you could say it was 5 stars because we had Tusk Love as a 5-star, then we had Sorcery of Thorns and Mysteries of Thorn Manor as 5-star books, and the other ones are mostly 4-star books. But that was overall a great reading month. I did not expect to be reading this many books this month, and I also didn't expect them to be such good books overall. And with my October TBR that I have picked in last week's video, I am so excited to see where October takes me. I already finished my first book of October and I loved it so much. So expect to see me talking a lot about those books in next month's reading wrap-up. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was incredibly fun to talk about all the books that I've read, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.